That's about his CP, which is very extraordinary experience. We have to follow in his footsteps. Alright, for the next presentation of material by Professor Dr. Avinash, we invite you.
Thank you. Thank you. It was a very nice video and wonderful introduction. So thank you. In a brief, I would say uh, I'm just a student of management. So I always try to learn management from different facets of life, from different experiences, different insights. So, in a one line, I introduce myself as a student of management. All right, so moving to the today's session, I'm going to talk on how research is important and how the academia is changing today, and what are the new upcoming arenas required for the future. What are the things which are essential in research? So let me just begin with my presentation. I'll just share my screen. Is the screen visible to you?
Yes, Professor.
Yes, thanks a lot. So, myself, Dr. Avinash, and we are hosting a lot of conferences and ceremonies and workshops with Akshara Global Academia. And we are sure that Akshara and myself and Professor Mia, we are working towards making Akshara a bigger initiative in Indonesia. So that's what we would like to operate in the future. Once again, very good morning, Indonesia, and it's a great pleasure to be a part of this event. So today I'm going to talk on the economics, research, and different aspects of publication. To begin with, how the revolution started in research, especially if you talk about academic as a world, you'll see a lot of changes happening. A lot of universities are getting started, new teaching learning methods are getting established, new ways of learning has been implemented. So the way we used to teach in the earlier days, I think that has totally changed. Today there is larger focus on research. Today we talk more about projects. Today we talk about integrating technology in all aspects of teaching learning. So that's how the academic world is changing. If you talk in more detail, the academic world is changing and there has been a larger focus on research, and that has broadened in every aspect. If you look at the significance of research in the earlier time, it was much lesser, but today the significance of research has been much higher. Today it's very necessary to publish, it's very necessary to contribute to the body of knowledge. So that's the academic revolution which is happening. If you talk about getting the funding or a grant for your project, or if you're working on any research project, again, funding and grants are important. Getting fellowships, you need to have a good research profile. To get any fellowship from any university, or even you are applying as a student, you need to have a good research credentials to get the fellowship for higher studies. Even if you look at the ranking of the universities, it has been largely driven by the research. A lot of university ranking considers research as a element of their gradation, and ranking of the universities is dependent on their research output. Moreover, the potential of the institution or even the admission of the students is also been dependent on research. So now, if I want to talk in terms of one word, I would say it's academic reputation, which is something happens through research. So if you want to have a good academic reputation, you need to publish more. If any university wants to have a good academic reputation, they have to publish much more into the academics. So I think the reputation is much, much important today. And largely, if you look at the teaching learning as a process in the earlier time, the teaching learning was more inclined towards the delivery of knowledge, where teacher used to come to the class and share the knowledge or deliver the knowledge. However, if you look in the today's context, the role of a teacher is more of a generation of knowledge. So teacher should generate a knowledge, or even we as an individual who are studying particular discipline, We must generate knowledge rather than just delivering or sharing the knowledge. The focus or pedestal has been shifted from delivery to generation. This is the change which is required today, which is happening today. Moreover, the teaching learning system is changing. It's more of a research driven teaching learning system in most of the top universities. If you look at the Harvard University, they have a research driven teaching learning method where all the topics are taught through the research papers, through the research assignments, which is very interesting way of learning. That's how we generate more knowledge. That's how we collaborate. That's how we make the things better for the world. There are many and new emerging areas of studies today. If you talk about disciplines, now in the earlier time, the disciplines were very restricted, but today a lot of new disciplines have been emerging. In fact, there are a lot of interdisciplinary aspects are coming. If you talk about physics and economics, a lot of laws of physics can be applied in economics, and that's the econophysics. So I think the boundaries of the disciplines are evaporating, and today we see a lot of new disciplines coming up, and which further require more research, which requires more generation of the knowledge in different areas where we can find out how one discipline could help other discipline. Some of the, like for example, some of the laws from the chemistry can be applied in share stock trading. That is something interesting. So a lot of new disciplines have been emerging today. Expansion of the universities is happening in last 10 years. If you look at the number of universities, they are drastically increased. So that's how the academia is also expanding, which further needs more and more research. Growth in the number of journals. Of course, the journals have been increased. If you look at the databases today, they are largely available. If you look at the indexes like Scopus, ABDC, ABS, they are growing in number. So today, there are all the ways and means to find out the potential for the research, to find out the platform for the research. Furthermore, the university norms have also been changing. For a teacher, or even sometimes for students in a good universities, there is a need of research. So in a nutshell, I would say the research is something which is most critical aspect today in the academics world, and that's how the change has happened. That's how the transformation has derived in academia. So, what basically a research is, if I talk in terms of academics, research is not just about information gathering. It's not just collecting the information. Research is something different. Research is not a transportation of facts from one form to other. We are not just changing the facts from one form to other form. That's not a research. Let's understand what basically a research, what is something which is not considered as a research. Research isn't a compilation of other works. If you do a literature review and compile, it's not a research. So what basically a research is, if I want to define what is research, it comes into four major aspects. The first one is exploration, where we find something new. If we find some new associations, we find some new variables, if we find something new phenomenon, that is exploration. We are finding something new. The second aspect of research is describing, to describe new facts or relationships that are identified. Maybe there could be a relationship between respect and the productivity, which is something new. So if I respect the employee, he will be more productive. So I'm trying to find out the relationship between two variables. So that is something which I'm trying to find some associations in a given variables or in a given situation. So describing something new is the research. Or explanation, which is the third one, providing the explanation to the phenomenon that why particular thing is occurring. Like, for example, in a COVID-19 situation, the consumer buying behavior has changed, and a lot of people shifted from a physical form to the virtual form in all aspects of their buying. And today, even that continues. Today people are habituated to the virtual platforms, and that's how the business world has changed. The consumer behavior has changed because of the COVID-19 event. That is an explanation. So we can describe a particular event, and we can give the explanation to that event. And finally, to contribute to the body of knowledge. So if I want to summarize what basically a research is an exploration, description, explanation, and contribution to the body of knowledge. So it's not just information gathering or collecting or transporting the facts. It's all about what you find something new in a particular situation. So research, if I want to look at the current scenario, as in academia, it's all about publishing or perishing. So research is a scientific investigation. However, publication is an art of making it acceptable for others, which is very critical. We are not just doing a study; we are making it acceptable to the society. We are making it acceptable by others, and which is most critical to find the journals, to manage the publication, and also get your research paper published, to investigate some existing situation or problem and providing solution to those problems. If you want to publish a paper, you need to find out what exactly a problem is, and then recommending some solutions to those problems is very much essential. Then, furthermore, to explore and analyze issues of concern. Today, there are in every industry, if I talk about research, there are several challenges every industry faces. Either it's a IT or a retail or a supply chain, or even the telecom industry. In every industry, there are different set of challenges. So we need to find out what are those challenges, which can be a good source of my investigation, and that will give me a right direction to find out different variables for my study, to find out the different associations for my research, and then creating a construct which will help me to explain the phenomenon, to explain variables, or to explain associations between different variables. I think this is a general form of doing a research. It starts with a problem, it starts with the challenges to be identified, then to explore the constructs and variables, and then explaining and finding out the relationship between the variables. That further leads to generation of the knowledge. So it's very important to understand how the research is carried over, why and what to publish. Basically, many people have doubt that why to publish and what to publish. Publishing is necessary in embedded in scientific research process, and it is equally important for your career, for your future. Now, apart from the research papers, we can also publish in several other forms, like new and original results can be published, or we can also publish review or summaries of a particular subject or a particular topic, or manuscripts that advance the knowledge and understanding in certain scientific field. Even a white paper or even an essay is an example of manuscripts, or even white papers could also be published. Basically, what we do not publish is the report of no scientific interest or out of date work. If I'm doing a study, it has to be current. If it is not applicable today, there is no point in publishing such research, or duplication of the earlier research. The research which is signifying the same outcome can't be published, need not be published, or incorrect or unacceptable conclusions. I think this is also something which is not considered as a research. So you need to understand the publication as a process, starting with the problem identification, and then exploring further about different variables, different constructs that can give me the right outcome. Today, due to the increasing number of publication, it is necessary to know the impact of research. And in a general sense, there are four measures to understand the impact of research. The number one is citations, or H index, which you can see on the Google Scholar. You can find out the H index of an individual, and also for the journal. You can find out the H index for the university. You can compare the H index, which is basically a number of citations which a particular individual or a university have received. Then you can also explore the quality of journals by looking at the rankings. There are different ranking agencies which we can log in, like Scopus or ABDC, where you can see the quality of journals and their ranking. Then next is SNIP, which is a source normalized impact, which we understand today, and we find out how many times the source have been acknowledged or used in a research. And lastly, the social impact, which is the major factor for any type of research, because research should help the society, it should help the nation. So what is the social impact of the research? So if you look at all aspects of academia, starting from the evolution where the universities or a teaching learning system is changing, research is changing, the different forms of research are arising today. The research process is changing, basically starting with the problem identification, finding constructs and variables, and then contributing to the body of knowledge. So I think this is a small introduction of what basically academia and research is. So thank you for your patient listening. If you have any questions, you can always connect with me. And once again, thank you. Terima kasih. Thank you, Indonesia.
Terima kasih, Prof. Avinas.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for Professor Dr.
Thank you.
Apinas for
Thank you.
presenting the material about academic research and publication.